وصلى الله وسلم على مفتاح باب الرحمة.
The standard of praise. Don't worry, you'll see it. Standard of praise. في يدي لواء الحمد. In whose hand is that? Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That's what he said.
And Ibn Sirin used to relate that hadith, and he used to cry and say, woe to us, our hearts are harder than trees. We stay away from hadith and we don't cry. But this tree that the Prophet left only for a few days shed tears because it missed the Prophet.
The great man of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the great wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Abu Yazid al-Bistami, when he's young, becoming close to bulugh, as he's coming close to being an adult, he says to his mother that how do I become a man? How do I become a man? What's a sign of being a man? The fuqaha are going to tell you signs. The fuqaha, the jurists will tell you signs, but he wants the real sign of manhood. Not the fact that your body starts changing and so on. He wants the real sign of manhood. She says you have to see the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You have to see the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Only then are you a man. Great men, great people are produced by great women. As she's inculcated in his heart this complete attachment to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Says you have to see the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He asks, how do I do that? She says, follow his sunnah. Call people to his sunnah. Send excessive salawat upon him. Send so much blessings upon him, as often as possible, then you will see him. A while later, he comes back and he says, I'm a man. He says, I'm a man. Abu Yazid al-Bastami says, I'm a man. He says, why? His mother says, why? He says, I've seen the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, in a waking state or in a sleeping state? He said, in a sleeping state. I was asleep and I saw the Messenger. He said, old women see the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a sleeping state. Old women, everybody sees the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a sleeping state. And that was in those times. Old women see the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a sleeping state. So he said, what? He says then, what do I need to be a man? He says, only when you've seen him in a waking state are you really a man. As comes in the hadith we mentioned, من رآني في المنام فسيراني في اليقظة. The Prophet said in the hadith of Sahih Bukhari, whoever sees me in a sleeping state will see me in a waking state. And here, many of the ulama said literally means waking state in this dunya before the next world. So he says, how am I going to do that? He said, carry on doing what you're doing. Carry on doing what you're doing. So a while later he comes back. He comes back and says, I'm a man. He says, what have you done? I've seen the Prophet in a waking state. She says, now you've begun to walk the first steps in being a man.
This is what he saw. This is what happened on that night. This is what happened. This is not dry, not boring, not, and he do this, do that, there's some big guy up there in the throne checking you off and like, that's not what it's like, folks. This is what it's like. These are the things that he saw when he went, and he saw with his eyes, and his eyes did not waver, and his heart did not lie about what he saw. And this angel, 1,000 times 1,000 miles, engaged in the exaltation of the Lord, placing one hand on his head and the other hand behind his back. And the beauty of his voice was such that it caused a commotion in the divine throne. And I asked Jibreel to tell me, who is this angel? And he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this angel 2,000 years before he created Adam. And I asked him where he had been all this time and where was his place of dwelling. And Jibreel said, in paradise there's a place to the right of the throne, and this is the abode of this angel, and that's where he was brought from. And I went up to him, he said, and I greeted him. Imagine that, he greeted him. And he rose up in answer to my salams, and he spread his wings, and all the heavens and the earth were covered by their expanse. And then he kissed my face and he said, good tidings to you, Muhammad, and good tidings to your nation. La ilaha illallah.
The last thing you should be thinking of is seeing Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in your dream. Don't you wish for it? Every one of us wishes for it. And the moment we are given this great honor of seeing Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in our dreams, we're going to meet him in Jannah. We're going to see him on the day of judgment. Also another hadith mutawatir. من رآني في المنام إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ لَا يَتَمَثَّلُ بِي. Whoever sees me has seen me in reality. Shaitan doesn't take on my form. So the last thing you're thinking of when you're trying to fall asleep is, inshallah, I'll see Rasulullah in my dream tonight, inshallah, Allah, I'm not in the vision of seeing Rasulullah. I want to sleep and see Rasulullah. So the reason of me sleeping, my father said, he wouldn't like sleeping unless for the wish of seeing Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. For that wish, he loved sleep. Because there's an opportunity to see Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam when you fall asleep. So he loved sleeping for that reason. So throughout the night, you are in pleasure. Even in your dream, you will be thinking. You will see a dream, believe me, if you sleep in that way, you're going to see a dream. In that dream, you're going to see, am I going to see Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? You will be thinking in your dream of seeing Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And soon you will see him once or twice, many, many times. In the morning you get up. How you get attached to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? I don't know. Maybe some of you remember Rasulullah sallallahu only on the Mawlid day or Anwaar. I'm not sure, I don't know. I'm sure you remember Rasulullah every day, every prayer. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the prayer of the tashahhud, every prayer, every tashahhud. I don't know that people are aware, are connected to him. They visualize him in front of them when they say this. But I want you every morning to struggle for the rest of the day. You get up in the morning with the following idea. Today I want to make Rasulullah happy when he looks at my walks. I want to do better than yesterday. He's going to look at my works. Reports are given to him. I want to see something. I want to do something good to please him. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Throughout the day, you're going to remember Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Day and night. This is how we love Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Do you see this? Can you see this here? Approach to loving Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to see where he should stand in our lives, brothers, sisters. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is not merely a messenger who conveyed a message. Is not just a man who brought guidance. Rasulullah is not solely someone who received revelation.
إن لم يكن في معاد آخذا بيدي فضلا. In the afterlife, if he takes not my hand kindly, then my feet will slip. Alas for such misfortune. Where does it slip? The sirat slip into an abyss of hell. At the sirat. I mean, look at that tradition inside of a Tabarani of the Prophet ﷺ said of those who's commanded to take flight over the sirat, to traverse the bridge over hell, the 3,000-year bridge over hell. وَبَيْنَهُ كَذَلِكَ, as he begins to traverse the actual sirat, he slips. And the Prophet ﷺ said he's slipping off until he's hanging by a thread. Like the Prophet describes it. He's got his hands holding onto the sirat, fire beneath him about to fall off. And then the Prophet ﷺ said the hand comes and takes him by the hand, puts him right back upon the sirat, establishes his feet firm, and then takes him 3,000 distance across the sirat. The hand that takes him. Hadith in Tabarani. And the Prophet ﷺ said that hand is salawat alayya. Look at the hand, he said. The hand is sending salawat, invoking prayers upon me. That's the hand. And look at the line of Busayri. In lam yakun fi ma'adi akhidun biyadi fadla. In the afterlife, if he takes not my hand kindly, then my feet will slip. Alas for such misfortune.
Allahumma salli wa sallim ashraf as-salati wa taslim ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina Muhammadin ar-Rauf ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik alayhi wa ala alihi.
اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله